1. What is the primary role of a work permit receiver WPR in an industrial work site? A. To supervise all contractor employees. B. To verify, accept, and control permits for safe work execution. C. To issue work orders for maintenance tasks. D. To approve procurement of materials. 2. Which document must a WPR review before accepting a permit for hot work in a hazardous area? A. Materials safety data sheet. E. Lockout tagout checklist. C. Job safety analysis or risk assessment. D. Permit to work audit report. 3. When a WPR finds missing signatures on a submitted work permit, what is the most appropriate action? A. Reject the permit until all signatures are complete. B. Approve the permit but report it later. C. Sign the permit on behalf of missing signatories. D. Proceed with work while requesting signatures afterward. 4. Which of the following best describes simultaneous operations, SIMOPS? A. Working in shifts to increase productivity. B. Conducting different activities at the same location and time that may create hazards. C. Supervising multiple permits in different facilities. D. Performing maintenance and audits in parallel. 5. A WPR is responsible for ensuring that isolation points listed in a permit A. Are tagged and locked according to procedure. E. Are labeled with the worker's name. C. Are photographed for documentation. D. Are signed off by the client's procurement team. 6. What is the main purpose of the toolbox talk conducted before permit activation? A. To explain financial targets of the shift. B. To discuss safety requirements, scope, and hazards with all involved personnel. C. To deliver training on corporate policies. D. To brief only the supervisors on administrative tasks. 7. When should a work permit receiver request permit revalidation? A. When scope of work or site conditions change. E. Every 15 minutes during work. C. Only at the end of the job. D. When the WPR has finished all paperwork. 8. If an emergency alarm is raised while a permit is active, the WPR should A. Continue work if conditions seem safe. B. Immediately stop work and evacuate workers to assembly points. C. Ignore the alarm unless instructed by management. D. Cancel the permit permanently without checking conditions. 9. Which type of permit is commonly required for confined space entry? A. Cold work permit. B. Excavation permit. C. Confined space entry permit. D. Electrical work permit. 10. Which statement best reflects the WPR's accountability regarding permit display? A. Permits must be displayed at the worksite and accessible for inspection. B. Permits may remain in the WPR's office until work ends. C. Display of permits is optional if work is routine. D. Permits should be displayed only after completion of the job. 11. When should a WPR verify atmospheric testing results for a confined space? A. Only if workers request it. B. Before entry and continuously during occupancy. C. After completion of the job. D. When equipment is switched off. 12. What is the purpose of the isolation certificate in a permit to work system? A. To identify hazards of the job. B. To confirm that energy sources have been effectively isolated. C. To authorize overtime. D. To control inventory of spare parts. 13. Which of the following permits is most likely to require fire watch arrangements? A. Cold work. B. Hot work. C. Excavation. D. Height work. 14. During permit handover between shifts, the WPR must ensure A. The new receiver understands all safety measures and ongoing tasks. B. Work is stopped and rescheduled. C. The previous shift destroys the existing permit. D. No written record is needed for transfer. 15. Which of the following is not usually a responsibility of a work permit receiver? A. Verifying site readiness and hazard controls. B. Monitoring compliance with permit conditions. C. Approving engineering designs. D. Ensuring permits are closed after work completion. 16. When reviewing a permit for electrical isolation, the WPR must check: A. Cable colors match company standards. E. Lockout devices are applied and documented. C. Switchgear appearance is clean. D. All equipment is returned to service. 17. The WPR should reject a permit if: A. It has multiple copies. B. Hazard controls are not clearly defined or implemented. C. It was prepared in a different language. D. It references another permit. 18. What is the typical maximum validity period for a work permit unless renewed or revalidated? A. 4 hours. B. 8 to 12 hours, 1 work shift. C. 48 hours. D. 1 week. 19. Which of the following best explains a cold work permit? A. A permit for tasks involving sources of ignition. B. A permit for jobs that do not produce sparks or flames. C. A permit for excavation below ground level. D. A permit for electrical activities. 20. Why is it essential for the WPR to conduct a site inspection before approving a permit? A. To satisfy administrative policy. B. To check conditions and verify hazard controls are in place. C. To collect timekeeping data. D. To approve the worker's competence. 21. Which of these should be included in a safe work plan attached to a permit? A. List of catering services. B. Emergency response procedures and communication plan. C. Payroll information. D. Procurement forms. 22. The purpose of a permit suspension is to: A. Permanently cancel work. B. Pause the permit temporarily due to unsafe conditions or breaks. C. Reduce documentation for minor tasks. D. Reissue a new permit for the same job. 23. Before energizing equipment after maintenance, the WPR must ensure: A. All isolations are removed and area is clear of tools and personnel. B. Only the contractor has signed out. C. Documentation is archived. D. The client authorizes a bonus. 24. When must a WPR close a permit formally? A. When workers leave for lunch. E. Only at the end of the project. C. After verifying work completion, housekeeping, and restoration of area. D. As soon as the work supervisor leaves site. 25. Which of the following best defines permit to work system? A. A form used for payroll authorization. E. A formal written system to control certain hazardous work. C. A database for maintenance records. D. A checklist for employee attendance. 26. If a WPR observes unsafe practices during permitted work, they should: A. Ignore unless there is an incident. B. Stop the work and correct the unsafe condition. C. Wait for the safety officer to arrive. D. Revoke the permit after work is done. 27. Which of the following permits would a WPR likely handle for trenching activities? A. Excavation permit. E. Cold work permit. C. Hot work permit. D. Electrical work permit. 28. A WPR signs the permit after reviewing conditions mainly to A. Indicate acceptance of responsibility for implementing safety measures. B. Approve budget allocations. C. Authorize attendance sheets. D. Verify the training records of workers. 29. Which item is a common attachment to a confined space entry permit? A. Employee salary list. B. Calibration certificates for gas detectors. C. Weekly maintenance report. D. Annual performance appraisal. 30. What is the WPR's obligation regarding expired permits? A. Destroy them immediately. B. Archive or return them as per site record-keeping procedures. C. Keep them at the worksite. D. Give them to the contractor as souvenirs. 31. Why must a WPR ensure all involved personnel sign the permit acknowledgement? A. To confirm everyone understands the scope, hazards, and controls. B. To collect signatures for payroll. C. To record lunch breaks. D. To finalize contractor invoices. 32. Which is an example of work that typically requires both hot work and confined space permits? A. Excavating a trench for piping. B. Grinding inside a vessel. C. Painting on an outdoor platform. E. Checking an office electrical outlet. 33. Before accepting a permit for excavation near underground utilities, the WPR should confirm: A. Workers have the right footwear. E. Cable and pipe locations are identified and marked. C. Daily attendance has been submitted. D. The client is available for inspection. 34. How should a WPR treat a permit with unclear scope or vague hazards? A. Return it for clarification before acceptance. B. Approve it to avoid delays. C. Amend the scope themselves. D. Sign it after consulting with any worker.